Hello, and welcome to the Corey Network. We have several real estate industry focused podcast shows showcasing around top leaders, company cultures, and experts serving all verticals of real estate. First up, we have Meet Your Next Best Hire, a podcast featuring and highlighting top industry real estate leaders looking to land their next venture in the job marketplace. And second, we have Company Culture Ambassadors Show, a podcast featuring top leading brands and organizations sharing their company culture, values through their voice to attract top talent to join their teams. And finally, Coffee Combos with Kelsey Corey, a podcast featuring real estate industry experts adding value through their insights, expertise, and backstories to our community. I'm Kelsey Corey, your host. With over a decade of real estate executive search and recruiting experience and the founder of Corey Executive Recruiting and Leaders on Deck, I've had the unique privilege of partnering with top real estate firms to recruit and place high-level leaders across the country. In these podcasts, we will have the amazing opportunity to hear top real estate industry leaders and organizations sharing their career stories, leadership and management style, and ultimately what they're known for in their craft and values that they're driven by. I can't wait to dive in and connect you with the best talent in the marketplace with top industry leading brands and building high performing teams. Let's dive in together. I am so excited today to share some time and space with our guest today, Gregory Frank, the founder of Ever Resi Media. So today we're going to dive into really hearing more about Gregory's background, how he got into the real estate industry, and essentially like what fueled him to say, I want to venture out, build Ever Resi Media, and then dive into where do we see Ever Resi Media, the impact and really the influence that we hope to see throughout the years coming along. So, Greggy, thank you so much for spending some quality time with us today on the show.
I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And so I'm honestly really curious, and I'm sure for a lot of our guests as well, kind of bringing it way back is how did you end up getting into the SFR BTR industry? And what ultimately made you decide, like, I'm going to stick with it. This is something I found passionate about. And I don't think you originally started in this space, right? I mean, I think you've been in different industries. So if you can give us a little color into that, that would be super helpful for our audience.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, so I think I've lived multiple lives, and previously I was in the franchise space. I spent 10 years with a multi-country franchise operation, and then found out through a recruiter, through a headhunter, about this SFR BTR. It was an organization that was looking to build out a first-in-class field services team. And that's what I was doing. And so, of course, that piqued my interest. And ultimately, that's how I landed as executive director of field services for an SFR BTR operator.
Okay, perfect. And then when you entered into that sector, did you notice there was a lot of similarities, differences? What really stood out to you say, okay, I feel like there's something here that I want to put more of my career stamp on?
Yeah, well, I believe I thrive in a startup environment, and that's exactly where I found myself. I mean, this was back in 21, 22. I mean, we were buying 400 homes a month, 200 turns, 1,500 work orders. It was very similar to the organization I came out of, which was 4,000 team members across 230 locations, operating around 800 vehicles, doing about 15,000 service calls on our busiest days across nine time zones. So I thought I had the resources to jump into SFR BTR because we were literally building the plane as we flew it. And that's what I loved about the early days. Certainly in the space I was in, folks coming in from all different industries, not just rental housing, and the fact that we were all collaborating to really figure out what it is we were building.
Yeah. And I think that's what really separates, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but
SFR and BTR are a lot more open-minded, right? Because it's such an emerging asset class that's really making a monumental footprint inside the industry as a whole. But like they've been willing to be creative to pull from different industry sectors that may or may not have crossover to bring the brightest minds forward to really create this asset class. Now, I think that makes sense in terms of like how you transition into the real estate world. You found yourself that you absolutely love it. And now here you are building as we speak, and you, like you said it best, flying the plane as we're building it at the same time with Ever Resi Media. So can you give us a little bit more background? Like, what is Ever Resi Media? What's the purpose? And give us a little bit more color into where you kind of see this envisioning and going.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. So to paint the big picture, the vivid picture is that when I was on the owner operator side, I did not know about the other half of this industry. Especially when you're in that owner operator seat, you're drinking out of that fire hose. I would have vendors that would say, "Oh, we're going to a conference this week. You should join us." And I was like, "Whoa, what are you talking about? You owe me like 30 assets. Like you're going to a conference." So I didn't know about the other side. I didn't know I would get emails from the NRHC, the National Rental Home Council, which is our trade and advocacy organizations. They do a phenomenal job fighting for this industry and telling our story. And so therefore, I really didn't know about this other side of it till I was impacted by a RIF. A lot of changes in this industry. And so once I found myself on that side, a vendor said to me, "Hey, why don't you spend some time with us? You learn this other side of the industry." And that's where I realized when I said, "Okay, that's great. Explain this to me." And they said, "Oh, well, we have a few conferences and we connect on LinkedIn, and this is great." And I said, "Well, is there a media platform? Is there any communication like other asset classes?" And they said, "No, actually, there's just some emails, LinkedIn, and a few conferences." So that's where the wheels began to spin. And I would meet industry leaders at these conferences that would say things like, "We only exist as an industry because of all of us in this room, that we needed to tell our voice and tell our story in our own voice and control our narrative." And that's really where the light bulb went off for Everesi, that I realized that we needed a media platform that allowed us to amplify who we are, and tell our story in our own voice. So that's where Everesi came from.
Yeah, I love that being. I think there's so much truth to it where it's literally was just word of mouth. And if you weren't in the right rooms at the right time, you didn't even know what was happening. How could it possibly grow really with outside of those walls if there's nobody on, industry leaders like you who would have been like, yeah, I want to be there. I want to be a part of this. I want to help grow it. And I think like it's really incredible that you kind of took something where you jumped into this brand new industry, you fell in love with it on the owner operator, then you went over to the vendor side, which I think kudos to you because not everybody gets to have the full experience from both sides of the market.
Very
And now
fortunate.
I almost feel like you're bridging the gap
Yeah,
between the two
100%.
and bringing everybody together, which makes sense that like you're an entrepreneurial, you love that fast pace, like, hey, let's just really create everything from scratch and see where it takes us. And I think we naturally met over LinkedIn. It was honestly a couple industry connections that we had in common, and we ended up getting connected together. I had not heard of Ever Resi Media up until that point, and it was really fascinating when we ended up getting, hearing a little bit more about your vision for this. And we immediately, I think for months, were like, okay, I think we're onto something here. And I knew what you were building was going to be incredibly special because I had not really even saw a lot of like movement happening inside the SFR. Not to say it wasn't, it just
It's
wasn't being
siloed.
out. It wasn't being broadcast.
It, and that's to your point. I believe it's all siloed on the LinkedIn and the social media of the operators and some of the vendors. Again, they had no way to broadcast their message outside of their own social media. And that's really the first step of whatever Resi was able to bridge.
Yes, yes. Now, tell us who would be a part of this community. Like, who's kind of the target audience, and where do you see taking Ever Resi Media?
So, I mean, I think it's all a lot of what you and I are doing, right? I'm a firm believer that it's all about people. I learned that in my previous roles, and it's all about the customer, and in this case, the resident experience. That's really what this industry and all businesses come down to, right? Really, to focus on cost, and then how do you drive that resident journey? But to me, and a lot of other organizations believe that really your internal customers are your internal people are your first customers. So if you focus on your people, your people will focus on, in this case, the resident experience. The resident experience really drives the business metrics. And so I love what we're doing here. We're building a community. We say here at Ever Resi, we're building the world's largest SFR BTR community. So really welcome in. So we want to provide a home for one, the industry, and two, no matter what seat you sit in this industry, there's content, there's resources, there's information. We are talking and profiling everyone, and that's what I love. From the top thought leaders in this industry to our frontline leaders that are really the unsung heroes. So we have a different programming coming out, content. We're launching a series called Heroes. We're launching a series called Who Are We? So we really want to get out there and help sort of the rock stars in our industry that necessarily don't always, they might not attend conferences, but they are out there really ensuring that we thrive. So that's what we're doing, thriving.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I want to dive into, you touched on a couple things there that I think are going to be extremely beneficial. So for anybody listening or watching, and you're just like you had made a great point, it's not just for very specific people. This is for all walks of life that are serving inside SFR, BTR sectors on owner operator or the vendor supplier side. And I think what's really cool is that I want to say you even initiated the Mastermind Group. Can you kind of share a little bit more about the thought process behind that and how it's going?
Yeah, so the Mastermind Group is relatively, we're just launching it. We put together a collaboration of about 14 owner operators
Awesome.
that are contributing their team members, again, frontline, to all levels of leadership, not necessarily the C-suite or executive, but everybody else, which is awesome. And again, coming from the owner operator side, I know the value of those individuals. So I'm super excited to bring those folks together. They're connecting with their counterparts on the service partner side, and we're really talking about the pain points, and we're really talking about the resolutions and the solutions that service partners can provide. And ultimately, what we're doing is we're creating relationships. This industry a little different than maybe multifamily and other asset classes. It's primarily virtual, it's remote, and so the opportunities for our frontline leaders to connect is very challenging. And so we're meeting virtually, we're meeting monthly, and again, we're just bridging that gap. And we all want to know that we matter, and the Mastermind Group is bringing that behavior to life.
Yeah, it's like you really meeting people with where they are, and
100%.
not like, if you can attend this conference or if you can attend this
Yep.
event or networking, you found a way for people to still be plugged in and connected and to get the value so that they can continue to evolve themselves as industry leaders. And I think that is a huge, I mean, I can't wait to see where it continues to go. What else can you share with us? Like, let's say people are heading over to the Ever Resi Media's website, the LinkedIn, the social platforms. What is it that they can kind of dive in, or what type of content and media can they expect to see and subscribe to?
So one, if you're in the industry, you're going to come in and you're going to see names of organizations that you know and see every day, but you're going to get to learn a little more about them. And it also provides, if you're in the space or not in the space, you get to come in and you get to move through the information very quickly. You get to pick and choose which nuggets of information are of interest to you. And of course, what it does, it minimizes having to be glued to LinkedIn. I mean, of course, LinkedIn has tons of value. But again, sometimes if your algorithms aren't generating the right content, you might miss something. You can come into everresi.com and get a breath of the industry, drop in a few times a week, and you're caught up, and you'll pretty much know exactly who's doing what, who's what's happening. And that's about the other part, is that it's also about the culture of organization. So for companies that are going out and enhancing the communities during the holidays, throughout the year, all of that content lives on our page. So it's almost like, news profile information, but we also have our career, culture, and growth page, which is almost like the company water cooler. So you get to come hang out and see who's up to what, and that's also where you're going to find content from you, and it's also going to come where you're going to find the industry's only career page. So a lot of content on 2 pages and growing.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Yes, I mean, so ultimately, you can go there for a multitude of different reasons. I mean, if you're looking to just get caught up on who's doing what, when they're doing that, and also different industry events that are being pushed forward. I know, like the policy regulations that are getting passed, or, what's the latest and greatest on the news inside the industry. And then also, like you said, training, learning development. I know accreditation is something that you are very passionate about bringing forward
Absolutely.
to this industry. And on top of it, like you said, what are the hottest jobs that are hitting the market? What leaders are emerging into open to looking for their next venture, which is a big reason why we got connected is, okay, how do we bridge SFR, BTR, and Ever Resi Media, core executive recruiting, and leaders on deck? And how do we bridge all these top talented leaders that are, looking to grow and, like you said, thrive ultimately with, in this career path? Because it's not going anywhere. It's only getting started. And it's so cool to see. I'd say the last 5 to 7 years have been pretty remarkable, even though it's been around longer, for over a decade. It's really been amazing to see the growth capacity and the people capacity that have been touching like all these different markets, and geographies across, the platform as a whole. Now, what is the best way for people to get a hold of you and get connected? Can you share a little bit about that with us, Gregory?
Well, certainly, of course, everresi.com, or of course, you can connect on LinkedIn, Instagram, so all social media. But of course, reach out. Would love to connect. And and again, on top of the Mastermind Group, I'll even share with you, we're in the process of launching our BTR Accelerator Group, where we have folks coming in from other asset classes, maybe multifamily, commercial, that are looking to stand up a BTR program. And so they're joining our group to be connected with builders, with developers, with operators, with property management companies. Almost not a turnkey experience, but they get to come into a working group of their peers, and they get access to a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge to help us all as an industry pulse faster together.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And guys, if you are not following Gregory, you should be. Everything on this episode is going to be on our post, but definitely go to the website, go and follow his journey on LinkedIn and all the things that he's building at Ever Resi Media. And then also we are launching our private community page that is going to be dropping in the coming days.
Wow.
So it's going to be catered to SFR, BTR industry leaders, and we're so excited about that.
So wait, are you making breaking news right now? I mean, this is kind
I
of
don't know. I mean, at this point, I'm like,
I think so.
I don't want to miss
Okay.
out on it.
I love it. I love it. So
Yes.
so we're going to launch Thrive, the SFR BTR Career and Growth LinkedIn group. So again, there's still, to your point, there's a lot of change going on. Organizations are still trying to figure out how to operate best, and innovation, technology plays a big role in that. But as a leader, as a leading talent acquisition VP said to me, Gregory, we're only going to grow by attracting more people to this industry. So I think there's a huge opportunity. We're eager for folks that want to be in this space. So we're launching this group together, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities that will be announced before they go public on the page. Resources, career development, professional development, and again, the ability to just connect with your counterparts and your peers, and for us all to grow together.
Yes, I mean we're better together at the end of the day, and this page is going to
100%.
be it's going to be so cool to just put this out into the universe, see where it takes us. But yes, I mean if you're looking for a new opportunity, if you're looking to land your next best venture, or you're just like, hey, I want to find the best talent in the marketplace and know industry tips on hiring, recruiting, all the different things that are happening in SFR BTR, this is the space you're going to want to get joined and connected with. And thank you so much, Gregory, for sharing time with us today. We're so grateful, and I cannot wait for our audience to get to know you better through this process.
No, this has been fun. Thanks so much, Kelsey.
Thank you.
Thanks again for listening and sharing your time with us on the show. I hope you enjoyed listening and learning from various leaders our industry is so fortunate to have inside the real estate space. If you're a high-level leader within the diverse real estate ecosystem and looking to land your next venture and would like to share your story from your own voice and perspective, or if you're a leading real estate organization and want to share through your own voice and narrative your company culture, values, and ways you recruit and retain top talent, let's get connected. Then be sure to check out our firm also at Corey Executive Recruiting and Leaders on Deck via CoreyExecutive.com. Our mission is to continue to be trailblazers within the recruitment space and bring meaningful leaders to the forefront to drive growth and empower people. If you've enjoyed this session, please like, comment, and subscribe to support us. And thank you so much to our partners at Multifamily Media Network. We couldn't be more grateful for our collaboration. Stay tuned and join us on our journey.